Hey everyone, this is Block TV Podcast. It's November 26, 2018 at this 4:18 a.m. hour on this Monday. I'm your host, Gabriel Logan, and this is another try with the Block TV Podcast. I'm your host, Gabriel Logan, with all the news that you care about and whatever else. So let's get this started with the Block TV Podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the Block TV Podcast. Hope you're all doing well. And, this is another try because I did it and I kind of screwed up on the other podcast that I wrote and the stuff that I said. So I wanted to start this one, a little different. I'm getting a little emotional because I'm watching a Netflix original called Atypical. It's about a young boy who's a straight A student, super intelligent, gets straight A's in school, never misses a day of work. He's in high school, and he has, like, his best friend who's Indian, and he's this super pale, awkward, kid, very scrawny, and has Asperger's or some form of autism, obviously on the spectrum. And I'm getting a little emotional because I, too, have been diagnosed with HFA since I was a little kid. However, I never had it this bad because I never got bullied in high school, ever. I was a loner. I didn't do anything in high school. I didn't talk to girls. I kind of stayed away from people. I didn't really talk to anyone. I didn't have autism as bad as my best friend, who has it pretty bad. So I'm sorry I'm getting a little emotional on this podcast. My best friend in elementary, he got picked on all the time. And I'll tell you, because the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is a very good piece of work, of film on Netflix, because it's showing people how difficult it is with autism. And I have to agree, like, there is some parts where you're like, man, these people are selfish and these people can be pricks. You're right. They can be, like everyone else. The problem is everything of their life is times 10. So when you're stressed out or when you're upset to an autistic person, it's times 10. And a lot of the stuff that they do is uncontrollable. So I tried to explain my frustrations and my disorder to one of my friends, which I just went to his house today. I hung out with my BFF, which is a woman, and she's a super kind-hearted, amazing person. I mean, she's fucking amazing. She really is. She's got a great heart. I mean, I came over, she made me coffee, and she just showed me some kind of weird game. It was like about farming or something. I don't really play video games much anymore. I'll be honest with you. Even though I started the Block TV because it was basically supposed to be like the competitor of G4 TV, because G4 TV was going away. And that's why I started the Block TV, because I wanted to show people, hey, there can be something similar that nerds would want to go to. And they still deserve a channel. I mean, there was millions of people that went to G4, which used to be called Tech TV. But we just hung out and we looked at this game, and I tried to talk to her fiance, and I don't know, we didn't talk much. I think he was focused on his game, and I apologized to him of being annoying and writing him so many damn emails and whatever. And I was a little bummed out because he didn't say thanks, and he didn't apologize for hurting my feelings of that email he wrote that was very insensitive to me. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to go back or not, but I don't know. It's just how it is, I guess. It's just weird. It's like, I just want everything to work out. I mean, I know we're two complete different worlds. You're obviously not on the spectrum, and I am. But I don't have it as bad as other people. But let me go back to my friend. I don't want to talk about that. It just gets me all flustered and kind of anxious. So let's go back to my friend. So my really close friend that I grew up with since first grade, we've been friends for more than 20 years, has HFA or some sort of Asperger's. And in elementary, he got picked on all the time. He had sand kicked in his face, and it's statute of limitations, so I can't be held accountable for any of the actions I have done, like beating up bullies for him and kicking sand back in their face, or grabbing a kid and shoving his head in the sand, calling him a dick. Quit being a dick, you know. And when a kid sneezed, I kicked him in the face. I mean, hey, I'm 8 years old, you know. I'm 30, so I'm sure we've all done dumb shit as kids. But yeah, they would, and also in junior high, he had it real bad too. In junior high, people used to take advantage of him. I remember I went to junior high with him, and I remember these kids would always ask him for money. And that's why I'm getting kind of emotional watching the show, because this is like watching my best friend. I mean, I went through all this shit with him. The tantrums, the screaming, covering his ears, saying, everyone shut the fuck up. And he's just super, you know, anxious and crying and helping him. And just the bullying, the teasing, the horrible things they would do to him. Like, what was it? Like they would take his shit. They would take his shit and steal his shit and break it in front of him. So that's why it's really emotional watching this, because it's bringing back memories of, you know, and because I was his best friend and I always protected him. I was his bodyguard no matter what happened. And I think every person who has some sort of disability needs to have that friend in their life to protect them, because there's so many assholes in this fucking society. These pieces of shit, garbage people have no soul or remorse. And the problem is, too, with these people that do this shit, these people who bully are typically people who were once victims of bullying, or they're just narcissists, they're psychopaths, or they're sadists and have a sick pleasure in hurting people. Physically or emotionally, or both. But yeah, I'm emotional watching this because, you know, there's some scenes like when they wrote in his yearbook and called him a freak and a weirdo and all these things. And it's just, I remember that shit, man. And I also remember too, when we were in junior high, a kid stole money from him. There's this one kid, he constantly would ask him for money, and he would just give it to him, because that's how he is. He doesn't think. Autistic people are usually very generous, but they take everything as face value. They don't think, you know, they don't really have common sense. So if someone comes up to you and asks you for money, usually the person's incentive is no. Or they would say, sorry, I don't have any money on me. Which is true. I never have cash on me. I only have my card. But you're not getting it, motherfucker. Play a fucking instrument. Maybe I'll send you $1 in Bitcoin. But yeah, that's just who he was. And he would give money. And I remember this kid constantly would ask him for money. And he was just giving him $5-10 or whatever. And one time I went up to the guy, I go, hey man, I know you're taking advantage of my friend here, give him back his money. And he didn't. And then a fight breaks out. And you realize how many times I've been suspended protecting him? Because I didn't care. I didn't care about what happens to me. All I cared about was my friend not being taken advantage of. So I was always getting in fights. I was always, you know, telling these people to fuck off and, you know, stop being dicks. And it's just, they're horrible people, you know? And these people, like, the problem with autistic people is there's a lot of pros and cons of being autistic. The pros are they're very honest people. They're very intelligent people. They're very skilled people. They're very knowledgeable people. They're very book smart. The problem with autistic people, the cons parts, is they don't understand social cues. For example, they don't really understand when a person will look at you a certain way. You know, and most people's incentive is, you know, if they give you a certain look and they look at you with their eyes, with their eyebrows, and they look at someone and then they look back at you and kind of move their head a certain angle, that usually means like, hey, go talk to him, you know? Most people would see that and go talk to them. An autistic person wouldn't understand what the fuck that means. They would just go, why is your neck fucked up? Like, what do you do with your eyes? What the fuck's wrong with your eyebrows? What the fuck's wrong with you? Because they don't understand they don't understand signals. They don't understand that kind of concept. I don't want to sound insulting, but they kind of have a robotic machine aspect of their life, meaning, they have emotions, they have empathy like everyone else. It's just they take everything like a computer. For example, if a computer, gets an alert on the computer and there's a problem with it, it'll let you know. And then you go and you troubleshoot and you correct the issue. But it's not like, there's an issue and then there's something else behind it and then this other thing and this other thing. And then, it's not like all these weird mystical things that there's no explanation for. And, that's kind of how their minds work, is kind of mechanical. It's kind of like a machine. So that's how they process life. And I have it much less than most people. I have a touch of it. I get more anxious on certain things. I get nervous more easily. I get panic attacks all the time from, worrying about my best friend, like wanting to skydive. I think it's insane. But, when you really love someone, you freak out. You're like, why would you skydive? Why the fuck would you do that? Why would you jump out of a plane? That makes no fucking sense. Or like if you get overly obsessive about things too. So like, for example, I have a savings bond that I got to figure out how to fucking cash that thing. And you get a little over obsessive. And I do that. So, but I don't have it as bad where I have tantrums in public. I don't have it where there's a scene on here where the kid flips out on the bus and he hits his head on the glass. He gets on the ground and starts crying and starts screaming. I don't have that. I don't have that. I did as a kid. I had all kinds of tantrums. I remember one time I wouldn't get off the bus. So I'll have stuff like that. But no, I don't have that. But no, it makes me emotional just because it's like watching my best friend growing up in school. It really is. It's so uncanny. It just, oh man, I feel like I'm reliving all these moments I had with him. I graduated with him in high school. It was the best day of our lives. And like this kid in this show, he's a phenomenal artist. He's obsessed with Disney. I have all of his drawings. Every time he sends me a birthday card, and it's fucking amazing. He'll send me like a Mickey Mouse thing, or he'll send me like a SpongeBob thing that he did with a blow pen. He's done marker, he's done watercolors, he's done pastels, he's done oils, oil paintings. He's fucking good. And that's why this show hits hard to me, because this is very similar to my best friend that I grew up with. It's crazy. And look, he's still in college. He's trying to be an engineer. Super intelligent. And things are easier for him. He used to be a picky eater. Change was harder and everything else. Also, another thing I was going to mention about the cons. Sorry I get sidetracked. But the other con is intimacy and compassionate. So, for example, that's another con, is that autistic people, I'm not this way at all. I'm very affectionate, but they lack affection. I'm a very affectionate person. I'm always hugging my mother and kissing my mother on the cheek. I'm always like that. When I hug my friends, I hug them for a long time. And, I'm a very emotional person. I love hugging and shaking hands. I love it. I really do. So, for example, for autistic people, they lack that kind of aspect that most people have. So, for example, like in this show, this kid has it where light touching makes him nervous and jumpy. And there was a part where this girl really liked him and started kissing him, and she was about to have sex with him in her dorm, and he assaulted her and pushed her. And he flipped out. And it's not that they're violent people. It's not that they're bad people. It's just that that's how they're programmed. They see something and they go, oh shit. And then they, it's like having, because, okay, think of it this way. For an autistic person, when you're lightly touching them like this, like grabbing your hand and brushing their hand gently and softly, to them, it feels like a bunch of spiders crawling against their body. If a spider jumped on you, you would flip out, right? And go, what the fuck? There's a spider in my hand. You would throw it away on the ground, right? That's how it feels to an autistic person when you're lightly brushing them or touching them very gently. A lot of people would love that. Like, I love when girls do that. But for a lot of autistic people, they don't. And there was a scene where he flips out. And she's like, what are you, some fucking freak? What are you, retarded? And it's very offensive because he's not. He's a brilliant guy. He's super brilliant. It's just that's the one bad traits that they don't have. I mean, yeah, they're super intelligent. They'll never forget your birthday. They will always contact you on the dot at 3:15 p.m. They're always going to make it on time to their job at 9 a.m. They'll always leave at 5 p.m. They're always structured. It's like a military, like they have like a military brain. Like, okay, you get up in 1,200 hours and then you go to sleep at 400 hours and then you do push-ups, curls, and go, go, go. And that kind of military mindset is basically what every autistic person has, is that structure, that obedience, that guidance. That's how they're wired. And if you write stuff down in a list, they'll go through that. So if you write down in a list of what to do, they'll follow it like that. But if you, in another con too, with autistic people, is the other con is that they can't adapt to change. So, for example, and this is something I still struggle with. So, I'm just like everyone else with this part of the spectrum, is that I have a hard time with change. I panic. I start shitting every 5 seconds in the toilet. I have to drink alcohol just to relax. I had 4 beers on my job interview, and I had so many mints in my mouth. I didn't want them to think that I was on alcohol at my interview. And I did. I had 4 beers before I went on my job interview, and it helped so much because I was relaxed. I wasn't tense at all. I felt great. And that's the problem when autistic people, when one thing's out of place, like, for example, if you took, say, their underwear and their underwear drawer and you moved it where their pants are, they will flip out. They'd be like, why is my underwear in my pant drawer? My underwear doesn't go in my pant drawer. It goes in my underwear drawer. That makes no sense. It has to be in the pant drawer, in the underwear drawer. It can't be in the pant drawer. That makes no sense. Why the fuck? And that's how they are. They'll flip out over little stupid things like that you and I would find ridiculous. But that's how they are. And that's what they lack on. Another thing that they have a problem with too is touching things. If you go into an autistic person's room and you start touching and fiddling their stuff, they'll find that very agitating. And they will get very annoyed by that. They like everything in their place. They're obsessive. They like everything in their place. Like, I mean, in my opinion, I'm kind of like that, but not really. Like I hate when people clean my room. I like to clean my room. And my dad's the same way. We like cleaning our own room because then we know where our stuff is. It's not more the aspect of like how autistic people are when, if you move something slightly to the left, they flip out. This isn't, OCD. This isn't obsessive compulsive disorder. It's more of just knowing where your shit is because you don't remember. It's more of that kind of thing. It's more of a structured guideline. So, for example, when you make business cards, you use a template and it tells you what the right sizes are, and then it has the lines of showing where it bleeds through. So when they print the business card, they know, what to do, and when they print it, then it goes to the white. Because if you do too close to that bled line, then what happens is your text will get cut off when they do your business card. So it's the same thing. It's just a template to help you remember where all your shit is. So for example, like the thing that drives me nuts is I'll go in my room and the housekeeper cleans it, and then I go look for my sunglasses, and instead they're in some weird drawer, or they're in some. That's mainly what it is. It is for convenience and annoyance. So for example, if you go into your bedroom, I just get mad about it. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you put it there. Why would you put it there? But I don't I don't flip out, I don't go off the handle like most autistic people do. But that's the thing. Like, it's like if you took, I'm trying to think of an example. It's like my hard drives, for example. If you took my hard drive next to my computer and then you ended up putting it in a drawer, it's like, no, it's supposed to be right there. It's like to keep it the way it was. And that's the other thing. I don't like when housekeepers clean my room because my hard drives are running. And if you lift a hard drive while it's running, think of a hard drive as a record player. If you lift a record player as it's spinning, if you turn it any certain degree of an angle, you're going to scratch it. And you're going to lose significant data on your hard drive. Think of it that way. It's a fucking record player, but it's all your personal information. So all my photos, all my videos, everything. And I'll see them like violently pick them up, and I yell at them and go, hey, don't touch that. Don't move that hard drive. You're going to ruin it. And they don't understand how a hard drive works because it's like a record player. I'm like, and I told them that. I'll tell them that it works like a record player. If you take a record and they go, oh, and then they figure it out, and then they stop. So it's mainly that reason. Plus, I have a fleshlight in here. I have a dildo in here. I like to, shove a dildo up my ass and jerk myself off with the fleshlight, and I kind of don't want someone to see it. So, yeah, that's another reason. Yeah. I can't believe I just said that. Another thing about autistic people is another con too is a lot of them have they're more prone to depression and anxiety disorders as well as on top of depression, which just makes it hell. And autism really is a living hell. I don't want to be rude or mean or insensitive, but in my experience, I don't know how it is for other autistic people, but it's a living hell. It was for me. It still is. The reason I say this is because I'm 30 years old and I've never had a girlfriend. So it's really hard for me. And I want a girlfriend. I want to know what love is. I want to know what it's like to hold a woman in your arms and kissing her. I want to know what it's like to tell her that you love her and make out with her and have sex and try different sex positions and, vaginal or anal or oral or whatever. It would be fucking nice. I wouldn't mind trying sex if I was in love with her. Why the fuck not? Makes sense, right? I'm not like these other people. I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to go around sleeping with a bunch of people. I want companionship. I want someone to love. I want someone to hold and cuddle and sleep next to you and wake up next to you and have breakfast together. It's companionship, really. Everyone's lonely. Everyone is. When a person says that they enjoy being alone, that's bullshit. I don't buy that for a second. Because every fucking day is a living goddamn nightmare, and I hate being alone. So with that being said, I have a date on Tuesday. I like how I went transition from that depression to this. I have a date on Tuesday with a beautiful girl I met on Woo Plus. I know I usually don't like that app very much. But I like it because you get bigger girls and they're nicer. And this girl's really nice. She's a sweetheart. She's beautiful. I think she's really cute. We'll see what happens. Also, more than 80 people have died in the Paradise Fire, which is very sad. Donald Trump is a fucking idiot. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this podcast. So yeah, I wanted to just say that, don't be a dick and just be nice. It's not hard. That there's always people with disabilities, and it's just like they hate their lives every day. There are people that wake up every day, and there are people that just don't like themselves, or they don't have a purpose. And there are people on the verge of doing things, like look at what happened to Bourdain. I mean, something pushed him for him to not be here anymore. Something pushed Kate Spade for her to not be here anymore. All these porn stars that keep dying every month. Same thing. People with disabilities, if you push these people too far, you'll make them feel that they don't have a purpose and they don't have a reason to be on this planet anymore. So what I'm saying is, stop being a jerk and don't be like that. Don't treat people like that. It's ridiculous. Also, another thing I wanted to mention is Jacqueline Glenn, I think, has a new boyfriend. He's obviously emo because she loves emo guys. Or are they goth? Which ones are the Cutters? The Cutters are emo, right? Or are they goth? I can't keep up with these freaks. But yeah, I don't get it. I think it's weird. I mean, somewhat, he seems like a nice guy. I mean, I just think it's kind of ironic because she's such an atheist and she always puts down everyone's religions and she always says mean things all the time. And then all of a sudden, here's this Jewish guy who's a musician and they're dating. It's like, do you really think that's a good idea? She's going to mock you every 5 seconds. I mean, it sucks to be cheated on, but look at the people she dates. She has a pattern. All these guys are these skinny, pale, white guys that look like they haven't seen the sun in 5 minutes. And she keeps getting her heart broken. I honestly feel that you got to find the right one for you and get out of your horizons. Look at me. I'm not even trying to date Mexicans, and I keep dating them. I don't know what it is. They keep adding me on these dating apps, and I end up going on dates with them. I've gone on like 4 or 5 dates, and they've all been Mexican. Wait, let me see. I went with the one wine tasting. That's one. Then I went on another date with someone like a year or two ago that kissed me in the rain. She was Mexican. I went to a bar and had beers with another girl, and she was Mexican. And now fourth. This is my 4th Mexican I'm going on a date with. Oh my God. And I went on a date and I got assaulted by a girl last year and it was white. So I don't know. I think it's funny. I've only gone on a date with one white person and the rest has been Mexican. I find that fucking hilarious. They've all been Mexican. It's pretty funny. It's pretty fucking funny. But look I've been on many dates. This is going to be my 4th one or 5th one. So I don't know. I don't want to be alone anymore. I want a girl to accept me for me and to love me for me and just work with me and be patient and just I just don't want to sleep in an empty bed anymore. It's simple as that. I want to do nice things. I want to have a fire pit. I want to go in the fire pit and go in the backyard, light the fire pit, and I want to fucking just sit out there, roast marshmallows, and just sit out there with her looking at stars. And I got my top coat over her, and I'm kissing her, and I show her how much I love her, and I'm, want to make the stars aligned and says I love you in the sky. Like, I want to do all that shit, man. I really do. And I don't know. Loneliness sucks. And autism sucks too. It really does. That's why there's a hashtag very popular on Twitter called Fuck Autism. It has a big thing on there. So anyway, I just wanted to say that I'm going to continue watching this episode before I have to go sleep. Anyway, thanks for listening to the Block TV podcast. I appreciate it. The holidays are coming, so be sure to check out theblocktv.com, click on the Amazon link, and buy something, will ya? And help me out with my podcast, because there's no ads anymore. Because YouTube's being a little greedy. Also, you can same thing, go on theblocktv.com, click on Ebates. I think if you spend $25, you get a discount on things. And then also, I make $25, so it's a win-win. And help me out. And also, you can check me out on Instagram and Twitter. And subscribe, comment, like for the blocktv.com podcast on YouTube. So thank you for listening, everybody. And the holidays are approaching. So jingle bell rock, motherfucker.